Card review. First up, Forest Defender. Whenever this follower's attack or defense is increased by a spell or effect, deal 2 damage to all enemy followers. That's actually pretty amazing. Like, you play this on 6 with a fail that you get from Korwa, and it's a 4/6 that just dealt 2 AoE, which is insane. I feel like this is huge support for buff Forest. It's sad that, Pita is rotating out, but, we get this handsome Gorilla Man instead, and I think this is a pretty big piece. I don't know if the archetype will actually be good. I don't know if this is enough to push that over the edge, but this is a really powerful effect for what it does. You can also run, Craving Splendor in that kind of deck as well, and this guy survives through that. Yeah, this seems kind of amazing, actually. Moving on, Insane Dark Elf. Rush. Whenever this follower attacks an enemy follower, put a fairy into your hand, enhance 6, gain +3/+3. And it's already a 3.41. That's already pretty good. 3.41 with Rush. Kind of like a 3 deal 4 damage kind of spell. But with upside that you get more resources for your future turns. And that enhanced 6 for survivability later on in the game as well. This card seems pretty solid as well, actually. I think this could see play. Yeah, I like it. He's so edgy, though. Insane Dark Elf sounds like a Yu-Gi-Oh card name, doesn't it? Moving on, we've seen this one. Oh, Soldier's Vow. 5 play point gold amulet for Swordcraft. Whenever you play a commander follower, put a random officer follower that costs X play points from your deck into play. X equals the original cost of that commander follower. This is incredible. 5 play point amulet that you play it, and then on turn 6 you can play Melissa, and then you get Zeta out of it, which is insane. Or you could play it on 5, and the turn after you can play Magnolia and get Apostle out of it. Or you could play it on 5 and then play Celia, and because Celia is not an enhance, the actual thing that it summons on the enhance effect is actually a 5-cost commander as well. You can summon like an Apostle out of there as well. So I think you can just run this and then also just run good cards. You don't have to like bend over backwards to make this good. Like you don't have to run, I don't know, like Dario and Tycoon or whatever to get all of the value out of Soldier's Vow. Already Soldier's Vow with, a Melissa or Magnolia or a Celia is already really strong. But it is also a turn 5 do nothing if you do play it on curve, which is kind of a tall ask, depending on how fast the meta is going. Especially if you're, up in a mirror and, Sword is really good at getting the board presence and they capitalize on you passing tempo their way. But because on turn 6 they have that Melissa Zeta combo, which is really defensive and lets you get back on the board that way, maybe this sees play. I feel like if the meta is even remotely slower than just aggro decks trying to run you down, this card could see some play. A bit slow, but lots of potential. Moving on, Edict of Truth, 7 play point spell. Draw cards until there are 9 cards in your hand. If this card has been spell boosted at least 9 times, recover 7 play points. So this is clearly synergy with Ryo. You're supposed to play Ryo and then draw into your Edict of Truth. I don't really like having your Edict of Truth in hand before you play Ryo. And also just the entire idea of having to play Ryo first and then top decking this and refilling your hand after you dump your entire hand before playing Ryo as well. It's kind of a tall ask. I don't know, especially since there's better options for Runecraft right now, especially with more Mysteria support coming in this expansion for some reason. I don't see that Edict of Truth is gonna be a meta shaker or anything. It's a cool card to support the Omen cards that came out in this current set, Omen of the 10. And I'm glad that they're continuing Omen support with the different Omen factions, I suppose, and printing more cards for those kinds of archetypes and not just, leaving them as a single expansion kind of thing. But Edict of Truth, I'm not too sold on, just because, again, I think there's better options for Runecraft right now. Pala, Student Teacher, 4.33. Fanfare, put a Burgeoning Genius into your hand, evolve, subtract 1 from the cost of a Mysteria card in your hand. I've never had a TA that was good, so I already have like a bias against this card. But in all seriousness, it's a Mysteria card that generates another Mysteria card. I'm not sure if it needs this right now. The one cool thing about this card in the current Mysteria shell is that you can reduce the cost of Anne's sorcery by 1. So if you get Anne before turn 9, you can get the sorcery and then you can Pala evolve and reduce the cost of your sorcery to 9 and get the kill that much sooner, which actually could be pretty impactful depending on. But it does feel like it's kind of draw reliant in terms of what order you draw your cards at this point for Mysteria, and I'm not sure if this is good enough on its own to make that worth it. The Burgeoning Genius is a consideration. I don't know if the Mysteria deck has enough draw to make the 20 cards or less condition activate on time before you go all in on the sorcery plan. Like you run Fate's Hand, you run Owen, you run maybe Witch of whatever it's called. What's it called? The one that draws you a spell. But I still don't know if that's entirely enough to get to 20 in time if you play Pala. But it is a card that isn't too bad for stats for its cost, that gives you more resources and has the potential of reducing your the timer on your combo, which wins you the game. So wouldn't be surprised to see it played, but I am kind of skeptical whether or not the deck really needs it. If this deck does use this card, I am disappointed that the archetype is getting yet more support. That is kind of saddening to me, because that archetype is not fun to play against, in my opinion. But that's just me. Moving on, Witch Snap, 2 play point bronze spell, deal 3 damage to an enemy follower, put an Earth Essence into your hand. This is really good, really strong. Hopefully we get more Earth right cards. Dirt support, please. I'm kind of missing it. I do really wish there was a more balanced approach to archetype support, so maybe this is what I'm wishing for. We'll have to see with the rest of the set as it comes out, but already on its own, I think Witch Snap is quite good. Okay. Dragon Empress Otohime, 7 play point 3/4 Dragoncraft Legendary, the alter version of Otohime here. Accelerate 1, summon an Otohime's Vanguard. Fanfare, summon Otohime's Vanguards until your area is full. The Vanguard are 1/1 rushes. I don't think this card is all that impressive. I think it's only okay. Like, the 1/1s are kind of rough, especially on the 7-drop slot. You're also wanting to play Galmu in your decks basically all the time, I think. I think it's too good to not. This seems like the 1/1 body, I think it's too fragile to be imposing if you're just playing this without trading, and it's too small to really do a whole lot if you're playing it as a board controlled tool. I think if you really wanted a 7 play point board control rush card, you could just play Zernitra. And that's not just my Zernitra bias talking. I just think that the stat line on the Hellflame Dragons as 4/4s with a 2/3 with rush as well, I think is a little better. Of course, this is less Evo reliant, but the bodies are just so much smaller. And if you're ever facing a mirror against Disdain themselves, then of course this is bad, because you don't want to be running your Vanguards into their servants and their Galmus especially, right? So, not sold on Otohime. I don't think it's very powerful, but I think it's okay. It's a card that floods the board, has value, but I think its competition is a bit stiff, and the bodies that it generates aren't big enough. We'll see how we go, though, when the expansion actually launches, though. Corpseworm Fafnir, that's right, the boy is back, literally back from the dead. Fafnir, 9.810 for Shadowcraft. Fanfare, Necromancy, X, deal X damage to all other followers. X equals the defense of the enemy follower with the highest defense in play. This is a really late game card for, I think, a class that doesn't really need it at the moment. Hopefully, control Shadowcraft can become a thing, but this Necromancy X is what really gets me. I think the cost becomes pretty prohibitive here in terms of shadows. You could reasonably use this as a clear most of the time, but I don't know if you can do it like 2 turns in a row, for example. Because if they're building tall and you keep playing your Fafnirs, it's gonna eat into your shadows quite a bit. It is a pretty sturdy body, though, for 9. I think this is not a bad card. I think it's just that I don't know if there's room for this kind of supremely controlling card in Shadowcraft right now, especially with this kind of Necromancy cost. Without the Necromancy, this would, of course, be just a really good card, without question. But yeah, you could reanimate this as well with Crow's Amulet. Could be a thing. It's a pretty sturdy body, but again, it's just a body, right? Like, I don't know. I mean, it's big, but it doesn't do anything special if you reanimate it. I really wish, like in my mind, I'm thinking about this card, and I'm just wishing that Control Shadowcraft would become a thing coming into this next set. And if it does, then maybe you see Corpseworm Fafnir. I just don't see anything beating out the whole Arcus Cerberus thing right now. If anything is more powerful than Arcus, Cerberus, Gilneys, all that nonsense, I'm scared for the upcoming expansion. That's for sure. I'm very wary, but I don't think this card is gonna be that. But I do think it's very cool, and the art is incredible. Can I just say? Fafnir fan favorite, by the way. I freaking love my boy Fafnir. Marianne the Mummy. God damn! That mummy's thick, boy! 5.55 bronze. Can only attack the enemy leader. Ignore enemy followers' ward. Okay. Storm on evolve. Can attack any enemy. Ignore enemy followers' ward. I've seen some people throw fits about Marianne the Mummy so far. Thinking that it's really supremely powerful. I don't think so. I think it's like an okay card at best for now. Especially when you take into consideration the competition it has in Cerberus, right? Like, okay, you spend a card in your deck that without an Evo is really lackluster. And then you play it on curve, you spend an Evo point, and you deal 5 damage to the enemy's face. Okay. You've not developed your board at all, when that's your main strength, with Gremory and Gildenlease and all of them. You could have been playing Cerberus instead, and now your opponent can evolve over your Marion, because it didn't gain any stats, and then had their board that they've developed to this point, and then just hit you. So I think that this card is not super special, at least in the Shadowcraft deck that we know and love right now. Maybe if there was a more aggressive bent coming up, this could be one of those cards that just hits them. But even then, it's Evo reliant, and kind of high rolly then, in that case. I don't know, I'm just not really seeing it. Like, why would you ever play this over Cerberus? I might be wrong, but I really think that people are overrating this so far. Moving on. Zealot of Lust, 4.43. Fanfare, deal 1 damage to the leader, then 1 damage to an enemy. It's pretty bad. I mean, it's support for the Lust archetype, but what are you cutting for this, right? Like, there's Snarling Chains and Singer that's rotating out. I don't think this really replaces either of those. I don't think it really has a huge place in either of those. I mean, it's an okay turn 4 evolve. Not really. I don't know. I don't think it's very good. I think it does too little for its cost. Like, I don't think it's bad. I just don't think that it beats out anything in the current DFB deck. But maybe I'm not thinking outside the box enough. Maybe there's another deck that could use something like this, but kind of hard-pressed to see it when the current archetypes are so powerful. Arion, 8.5577, accelerate 3, angelic barrage, fanfare, deal 2 damage to all enemies. I think at the 8 playpoint version, this thing is super slow and maybe not worth it. 5/5 that deals 2 to all enemies, it's only okay, right? But the accelerate 3 for angelic barrage is pretty legit, man. Is it legit now? What does it kill? Otohime's Vanguards. I just realized. Yeah, okay. So, Otohime hate card already printed. Card's not even out yet. That's brutal. Can Bloodcraft take advantage of Angelic Barrage, really? I mean, the card is good. Angelic Barrage is a really good card, but I don't know. I don't think Arion really something that Blood wants to play. I think this card is a pretty good take 2 card. But you can just run Angelic Barrage in your deck if you want now for Bloodcraft. I guess it's a good option. Yeah, if you want that kind of effect. I think this is fringe playability. Fringe playability. Probably not at the 8 cost though. But you know, that's part of the flexibility of it, right? Like, you can play it as an Angelic Barrage when you need it, if there's a lot of Forest Craft on ladder, for example. Or you could just play it on 8 if you have nothing else to do. Colette, Holy Gunner. Randomly perform one of the following. Put a monastic holy water into your hand or deal 1 damage to an enemy. I hate this card. I think this is a bit overboard on the RNG. There's a line, you know, an arbitrary line that I've established in my own mind, and this is over that line, and I don't like it. I think the effects are too variant. Especially this is also a random enemy at the same time. I don't like it. It's probably okay. I mean, it's already a 2.22. 2.22s don't need to do that much more to be good. And, like, both of these effects are pretty good, but yeah, nope, dislike it. I don't like the design of this. Liam, Master of Puppets, 4.34. Fanfare, put a puppet into your hand. Evolve, put a Zwei, murder this puppet into your hand, and subtract 1 from its cost. This card is actually pretty sick. It's kind of the Noah replacement for puppet decks. You run this over Paracelsus. You just run it with Paracelsus, right? I don't think it's as good as Noah was. Not Noah, sorry. His name, Nicholas. Not good as good as Nicholas was. That's a pretty cool effect, though. You get a 6-cost Zwei. That's actually pretty awesome. I think I kind of like this, actually. Yeah, you get Zwei without having to run Zwei, and that's good. And you get that effect on a 3/4 for 4 body that has full stats on Evolve and gives you a puppet. I think this card is pretty good. Maybe puppet's making a comeback, man. Especially if they print a little bit more support to the set. I can see it. Kind of competing with Lashana in some deck lists. Unless you really don't want to run Lashana, you can just play this instead. Play Liam, that Liam boy. Without the Evolve, it's a 3/4 that gives you a puppet, which is alright. But that Evolve effect, I think, makes it worth it. Maybe he has a 2 of. Yeah. Seems pretty okay. And I think... Nope. Here we go. Another one that we haven't seen yet. Barkeep. 3.23. Fanfare of your leader's defense is less than your opponent's. Deal 2 damage to the enemy leader. This is one of the more jolly cards in the game, which I really enjoy. And this color palette is it's pretty nice, man, with these warm tones, but then the cool background. But I'm talking about the art, which means that I don't really have much to say about this card. I don't think it's very good. I don't think people are going to run this most of the time. Like, why would you, right? There's lots more better 3s that you can play than Barkeep, which is a vanilla follower that has a conditional effect that doesn't affect the board, so not sold. And you also have to be already behind for the effect to go off, so I don't think Barkeep's gonna get you ahead in that case either. Rice, Spice Cherub, enhance 4 draw card, not as bad. And I think that's it. Okay, there you go. That's the cards that have been released so far since the last time we talked about the new Altersphere card reveals. Let me know what your thoughts are on these cards in the comments down below. Am I right? Am I wrong? What are your thoughts on it? Love to hear from you. That's it for this video, though. Like it if you did. Don't if you didn't. Subscribe for more Shadowverse content in the very near future. And Altersphere hype! Of course, thank you to my wonderful patrons, patreon.com/Ignideus. If you'd like to support the channel as well, I would highly appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.